Tonight on Metro News, a decision on the fate of our heritage buildings, bringing Portaloos into homes, and a Canterbury athlete going for gold in Delhi. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Gina Grbic. Welcome to Metro News, a local news bulletin prepared by students of the New Zealand Broadcasting School. A hot topic of debate this week has been the future of some of our heritage buildings which were badly damaged by last month's quake. As I discovered, the Council's decision to demolish two of our most historic sites has left mixed feelings among the community. Christchurch is a city well known for its heritage buildings. Manchester Court, built in 1906, was once our tallest building. However, yesterday's council decision will see it reduced to rubble, the cost of repairing the building proving to be too high.
It's not too surprising, really. I mean, of course, we're all in a state of shock at losing what is an iconic building. I mean, it was one of the very most beautiful, really, and beautifully designed, marvellous statement of, it's a sort of cathedral of commercial Christchurch, really.
Situated next to the Manchester Courts, the Treehouse Karaoke Bar can only be properly assessed once the courts are torn down, so the council's plans are like music to the ears of its owner.
Hooray! Well, I finally made a decision and we can start to make our own plans, because we've got a lot of work in front of us anyway, because we've got some damage at the back and some at the front as well. So we just need to know, it's going to be a month, maybe a bit more, and then at least we can start to work on ours and go forward.
4 other heritage buildings discussed, including the Nurse Maud building, will be saved. However, the historic Sydenham shops will suffer the same fate as the courts. This architect argues the latest decisions could be the beginning to an end for our historic buildings.
Tragically, it'll go, and it is going. So I find it's sad. And of course, the real issue is that we've got a city plan which, in this city which is appalling, which has never talked about aesthetics, design, heritage. It's never made the slightest gesture towards what we all feel towards the city.
So, while the demolition could be over in as little as 2 months, it's clear the debate over the city's heritage will continue for a good deal longer. Gina Grbic, Metro News. Damage in other areas continues to cause problems a month on from the quake. Restoring sewerage facilities is the main focus for the Waimakariri Council at the moment, and as Jonathan Mitchell discovered, in the meantime it's about keeping residents as comfortable as possible.
The earthquake's taking its toll on this 100-year-old Kairaki Beach resident 1 month on from the quake. She's finding it difficult to get around, although...
No, I really am well looked after.
A portaloo outside was proving a problem to get to, even though she's got a large support network.
I've got somebody that comes in whenever I need them, and I have a grandson up the road that brings me miles of meals.
Now one of the council's newly purchased porta potties has been put in her room.
The only thing I dread is getting from here into the bedroom, because I've got so slow.
The council's set to purchase more to help out the most affected homes, and fixing sewer pipes are a priority.
Our contractors are working to firstly clean out the sewers, and then we run what we call a CCTV, a closed circuit television camera, actually up through the sewer pipes, and that enables us to identify what extent of damage has occurred, and from that we then decide whether we actually have to dig down onto that pipe.
This can take weeks. But so far, the council have fixed around 40 sewerage lines. They expect another 60 to be fixed quickly, but that still leaves many more.
It'll be, I think, maybe in the order of around 50 properties where the solution is going to be a little bit more challenging and will take a little bit longer.
So in the interim, now's the time to be dealing in portaloos.
We run with about 330 odd toilets in Christchurch for our normal day-to-day business. We're currently running around about 1,000.
So while portaloo companies are run off their feet around some of the worst affected areas 4 weeks on, getting sewerage back on is key. Jonathan Mitchell, Metro News.
Sewerage is also causing problems for our local fishermen. As Marcus Irvine discovered, the quake damage is not just limited to land.
With whitebait and trout fishing seasons underway and the salmon season just around the corner, Christchurch anglers are wanting to make the most of local rivers, but it seems the quake affected more than just land.
Close to Christchurch, we've got an issue with obviously contamination from the raw sewage that's being pumped into the various waterways. There's been some of the banks have collapsed. We've got silting happening in the gravel beds around the spawning. So I guess in general, it's not going to be the best of seasons for the young fish that have freshly hatched.
So not great news for anglers. This is the effect the quake had on a popular fishing spot on the lower Waimakariri River.
The banks, obviously, the way the whole thing's given way and the earth's moved towards the river. The rocks have all gone in there and it's a bit of a mess, really.
But collapsed banks aren't the main problem. Sewage from quake-ravaged Kaiapoi is being pumped into the Waimakariri River and others until drainage is fixed.
The council is working as quickly as it possibly can to try and get rid of the sewage and restore as best as possible to get the sewage back into the pumps and into the ocean outfall.
So what should anglers do if their favourite stretch of river is contaminated?
There's lots of other places in Canterbury they can fish and they just might have to go a little bit further afield.
So for some Canterbury fishermen, it may be a while until the nets are full again. Marcus Irvine, Metro News.
Coming up after the break, finding an answer to an $800,000 problem and reducing children's fear of hospital visits.